I am excited in this episode to bring you a very great example on what happens to a living person when they share space with a stuck spirit. Many of the clearings that I do remotely. I do them long distance, via phone, via Zoom. And as long as you have a grasp that there isn't any time or space, then the clearings will unfold just as they would if you were present. Now, there are certain clearings that it's beneficial to be there in person to do the work. There's something about that human connection, being there concretely in order to shift the energy that you need to shift to do the clearing. For example, episode 1, the human zoo in upstate New York. That was an example where my guides point blank said, you really need to be here. But most of the time I can do these remotely. Now I will work with the person via phone or Zoom, and we'll talk through what's going on, and I will energetically connect with them that way. This is a great example of how spiritual attachments, spiritual energy in your home, in your business, in the area that you're in, can affect individuals. And I wanted to share this with you because I thought this is a great one. This is a great one to show you what can happen as a result of sharing space with a spirit that is stuck. I'm hoping for anyone that listens to this, if you've had this experience, it gives you some comfort knowing, okay, all right, I'm not crazy. That's what happened. Now, this was a mom, and we did this clearing over the phone. And I recall her saying, I don't know what's going on. I know someone's here. Everything is agitated. Everything's off. Nothing seems to be working. I'm not sure what to do. So I sat quiet and I did GCP, as I always do, which is ground, clear, protect. Highly advise you to do that. It's absolutely wonderful. And I anchored in and brought my energy to her home. I remember starting in the backyard, and I asked her about the backyard and the back door, and we came into the downstairs area. There was all these windows and I could see the stairwell ahead of me, and she was confirming. For me, I like to use remote viewing in order to anchor into a place that I'm clearing remotely. And it is very helpful to be able to talk to the person and say, okay, I'm seeing this. There's, 2 potted plants on the left, and there's, 1 tree on the right. And to get that confirmation, because it really helps you to anchor in. So I go into the home and energetically, and I'm still on the phone with this really wonderful woman. And I see an older spirit, older female. And she had to be in her 80s. She was much, much older. If I recall, I believe she was shorter. And I had this very distinct feeling, also a visual of clothing that was from days gone by. I knew that she hadn't recently passed. She had to have passed years and years ago, just by the clothing that she was wearing. Now, she was avoiding me, this female spirit. She wanted nothing to do with me. And this happens many times when you go to do clearings. If they don't want to go, if they've anchored themselves in and found some sort of a security in their behavior, in what they're doing, they will avoid you. So this is what was happening. And when I finally connected with this female older spirit, she just was yelling. She was yelling. She was disgusted at the living female that was in the home. It said that the living female was a bad mom. And let me tell you right out of the gate, that was not the case. That was not the case at all. Because this older female spirit looks at me and starts screaming at me that the woman that lives in this house is a horrible mother. And I turn and look real quick over at my guide, like, what's up with that? And my guide was like, no, she is not a bad mom. She's a fantastic mom. Well, this woman had all these opinions. This female spirit had all these opinions on how to raise children and what to do. And her opinions were not friendly. Think of like 1880s, 1890s, and really harsh punishment for children. This is where this woman mentally was. When I tried to find out how she came across the home, how she's connected to the family members, the most I could get from her, because when you're doing spiritual clearings, It's not an exact science, and you don't always get the answers that you want. I have so many people reaching out to me saying, what about this? Did you find out this? And there's a lot of times I just don't get all of those answers. And this was one of them. So I wasn't aware. I couldn't really dive in with her where she came from. I just knew that I also couldn't connect her to the family. This felt like it was most likely a spirit that was in the area, probably passed away somewhere nearby. And I had this feeling as if she was going from home to home and evaluating the skills of the living mothers that were in this home. Opinionated? Whew. Yeah, this would have been a woman that I can just imagine when I was alive. If I was a child or a grandchild, I don't think I would have ever spoke around her. It would have been like, yes, ma'am. That probably would have been the only thing I said for my entire life until I grew up and left the home. But she was very stern and with just a dab of cruelty. Do you know what I mean? So I got her to start thinking about something else. Now, this works really well when it comes to crossing over, because the main reason a spirit is going to get stuck, it's not the only reason. You're going to hear in all of these episodes so many different reasons that I've come across for why people are stuck. But sometimes, most of the time, it's a psychological reason. They're stuck on something that was not resolved, that they're angry about, that they're concerned with. And for her, this female spirit, her identity was as a mother and as a grandmother and as a fierce one, and not like good fierce, like bad fierce, but in her mind, that was what she did and that was what she was good at. So in this situation, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to get them to think about something else, get them to talk about something else. And at first, I remember starting with like her children, or, what else did you do? And what did your husband do? And who were some of your friends? And tell me a little bit about your mom. What happens when you do that? Getting them to talk about something other than the item that they're stuck on can, in essence, sort of shake them free a little bit and loosen up their process. Now, the crossing over transition in itself is automatic. You've heard so many, I bet so many near-death experiences of people that are like, it was like a people mover. It was just automatic. I was being pulled toward the light. So what we're doing in this situation is this woman was stuck on this one topic of child rearing and how to do it. And when I got her to think about some other things, her transition started to happen again. That natural pull started to happen again. And I could feel her get a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And then I could see her disconnect mentally from this have to tell you how to raise your children feeling. And then I could feel her relax, and then she crossed over. So it wasn't a difficult process to cross her over, but here's the reason why I want to bring up this story, this experience with you. After she crossed, and I told the woman, the mother, the living woman who had hired me to come in to do the clearing, when I told her all of these details, she said, "Can I share something with you?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Totally safe environment here. Anything you want to share." And she said, "The last few weeks, I have been making choices with my children that I'm not happy with. I have done, different types of timeouts, or, not allowed them to speak in certain situations and things like that." She said, "That goes against how I parent my kids." And now, again, remember, I asked my guides, how's she doing as a parent? Is this the issue? And my guide was like, "No, she's a great mother." And I reiterated that to her. I said, "Even my guide is owning up to the fact that you're an amazing mom." And she said, "Yeah, but I'm listening to you and I'm listening to what this woman was here. And I feel like this woman was influencing me." And I said, "Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you share space energetically with a spirit, especially a spirit that is stuck. You can find yourself feeling some of the same feelings, reacting. This is a big one, reacting the same way that that spirit would have reacted, or seeing things differently than you normally do. And you'll know this because it's not like you won't be aware. What also comes with this is an odd, bizarre feeling of, why am I reacting this way? That's not me. Why am I feeling this way? That's not me. And for this sweet, sweet mom, she was feeling like, why am I disciplining my children this way? That's not me. Upon clearing this woman out, this mom was able to get back to raising her kids in the most beautiful, loving way that she was doing. The spirit who was stuck has now crossed over and gone home, and she was now able to reunite with her parents, her kids, her loved ones, and find balance and find peace and let go of that little nugget that was holding her here. Probably didn't feel like a little nugget for her, but it definitely was holding her here, and she was trying to work through it. Just shifting it up a little bit helps them to do just that. Helps the spirit, and it helps the homeowner. So I wanted to share this with you because I know a lot of people have shared space with spirits that are stuck, who have been affected by a spiritual attachment. And if you're listening to this and that's you, I know you're nodding, because you know what I mean when I say things are just a little off and it doesn't make sense, because it's not like you. Because you know what it's like? It's like the spirit who's struggling and really just needs help to go home. Because in the end, ghosts are people too.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.